Hey guys, welcome to one of my first watch and learn flight sessions. Gonna be trying to do these pretty often here, where we learn together. We kind of learn how to fly some of the basics in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today I'm gonna be flying the Airbus A320neo in Flight Simulator 2020. The reason I'm not using 2024 is I just can't seem to get it to work correctly. But really the whole point of this is to kind of show you everything from start to finish on setting up a flight. Flying from, today we'll fly from Paris to Milan. So a pretty quick flight, but some of the things that I had a lot of trouble getting started on when I first started flying in Microsoft Flight Simulator is things I kind of want to cover, really just to get started and start having fun with it, so we don't get bogged down with all the technicals. I am not a professional or an expert by any means, so it's kind of for the both of us. We get to learn as we go. And again, like I said, not a professional by any means, so really just here to have some fun. Today I'll be using charts by Navigraph. If I had to suggest anything, I'd suggest definitely subscribing to that. So this is going to be, in this video, we're going to do one of the most basic setups, mostly from Microsoft Flight Simulator itself, so we don't get hung up on being too realistic. We just want to get up, get flying, have a good time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select here, we're going to be flying from Paris, so Charles de Gaulle Airport. The code is LFPG. I'm just going to click a random gate here. Say get started from gate A10. Again, I'm not a professional. I don't really know where we would start, but I'm just going to click this area because we're going to be flying, a medium body airplane. I'll do gate C. Gate C6. That is departure. And we'll be arriving in Milan, the one I've chosen. Malpensa. That's the airport we'll be flying to today. I'm just going to click on the arrival. To arrival runway 17 left. I'm gonna hit IFR, high altitude airways, for our route. Gonna auto route us, as you can tell. Again, short route. We're gonna stick with that. In Navigraph charts, I'm gonna select a new flight and do the exact same thing. We're gonna start off in LFPG. And end up in LIMC, code for the Malpensa airport. Let's go ahead and get started. You better not put me on the runway. Alright, so here we are at the Gaulle airport. The reason I'm using the default A320 from Microsoft Flight Sim is because just recently they came out with a bunch of updates for the V2. It was really buggy. So I'm hoping that fixes everything. And I'll test that out before I make a video with that, but for now, this one is the one that's the least buggy. It's also the most simple. We'll go ahead, get started with our checklist. Simple checklist for this particular aircraft. We're going to turn our battery switches on. External power on if it's available. It is. Make sure our engine generator fault lights are on. And turn on the master switch. Oh, make sure the engine bleed air switches are on. Actually, they are. And this, I don't even think they're operative in this model. Engine bleed. Oh yeah, they both are on. APU starter on. This one, sometimes it has this little thing where every time I click it, it'll turn back off. Sometimes you just have to wait. Make sure your throttle is set to idle, because if it's lifted up at any point, it won't allow the APU to start. Alright, I think we got it locked in now. Won't use. Hear the AP starting around. Alright, now, perfect. We'll turn external power off. Lead on. Fuel pump. Now we'll turn our beacon light switch on. That's the other thing. None of these switches, these light switches, worked on my throttle. Not on my throttle, on my yoke with the V2 model. So hopefully I'll be able to reset all those with this new update. Check, thrust levers are idle. Engine mode selector, start. Before we do that, let's go ahead and listen to our ATIS, see where we are allowed to take off from.
De Gaulle Airport information, Quebec 1400 Zulu. Wind 009er at 5. Visibility, tree. Sky condition, few clouds at 4,800 feet. Temperature, 19er. Dew point 10. Altimeter tree 0.00. ILS runway 08 right, ILS runway 08 left, ILS runway 09er right, and ILS runway 09er left in use. Landing and departing runway 08 right, runway 08 left, runway 09er right, and runway 09er left. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions.
Alright, so it sounds like connect the jetway.
De Gaulle ground Jake 1234, could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft?
Jake 123 for the jetway is going to be connected.
So it sounds like every single runway is available. So we'll just choose the one that's closest to us because we're here parked at gate C6. Well, let's take off runway 8 left. So here we're gonna go to our, I don't even know what they call it, FMC. Go to our FMC, hit the flight plan button because we're leaving LFPG. Click there in our departure. We're leaving runway 8 left. If we go back to our charts, click left runway, choose a departure. Since we're leaving this direction, we'll go ahead and choose something that intersects with that. Like this one. Also check, make sure that we have it available FMC. It looks like P0 or PO6L. I'm not gonna say it and aeronautical terms. I'm just not that good. This isn't that kind of video. Remember, we're keeping it real simple. That way we don't get so caught up in the technicals. PO6L, perfect. Add that to the route. Doesn't look like they give us any transitions, so we'll just go ahead and insert that. And now we go down to the end of the flight plan. Check this airport here in our chart. See if they tell us any arrival. 35 right is our arrival runway. We can see in the VATSIM ATIS. Arrival. B5 right. Back to our flight tab. Runways available. B5. Check to see what kind of arrivals are available. Do something that goes out a little ways. This SRN approach. SRN 3P. Route. And approach. Start. I'm not really sure. I don't fly in Europe very often, so these ILS Z, ILS X, I'm not really sure exactly what the difference is, but let's go ahead and click ILS X for runway 35. Now we have our whole flight plan set up here on our chart. So here on the FMC, if we come back to that, ILS 35 right X, we'll use arrival SRN 3P, 3P right here. This is one of the biggest reasons to use Navigraph, because remember I said that we need to keep this updated. If you're very new to flight simulators, they do not update these automatically. Well, maybe they do. I haven't actually used the default flight simulator long time. I've always had these add-ons to make sure that my FMC is always up. But back when I started, they obviously didn't update this automatically. Insert that transition. Now, once our approach was INLER, via INLER right up there, so it seems as if everything is golden. Yeah, I don't know why it keeps beeping. Go ahead and get rid of that jetway.
De Gaulle ground Jake 1234, could you please disconnect the jetway from the aircraft?
Just imagine everybody's on board now. So to check our map here, we're going to switch to the plan section here. Zoom in just a touch. Zoomed out. There we go. So here we can check on our FMC for each point that we're currently on. If you press the up button, that'll bring you down the page. So we go follow point and make sure there's nothing weird going on. Flight plan. Looks like it's perfect. Lines us up with the runway. Go back to our navigation settings. Finish turning on our engines. And turn on engine 2. Make sure our parking brake's on. We can check here where our engine turns on. Let me go ahead and one. Go ahead and get clearance.
Jake 123-4 is cleared to Malpensa Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 08 left climb and maintain 11,000 feet. Departure frequency is 125.7 squawk 2654.
Go ahead and set our altitude to 11,000. Then
Jake 1234 cleared to Malpensa Airport is filed. Takeoff runway 08 left climb and maintain 11,000 feet. Departure on 125.7 squawk 2654.
Jake 1234 readback is correct. Contact ground on 121.908 when ready to taxi. Good day.
alright, double checking our engines are correct. Our engines are stabilized. 40 psi, perfect. Turn this back to normal. Turn our APU bleed off. And our APU master. That's it for their checklist. Super simple again. We're gonna start taxiing, so we're going to turn our taxi lights on. Alright, well the taxi lights seem to be set for takeoff. Or some unknown. Seem to be stuck. Oh well. Turn the seatbelt sign on and unsmoking sign. You go ahead and request taxi.
Jake 1234 with Quebec ready to taxi IFR.
Jake 1234 taxi 2 and hold short of runway 08 left via taxiway Papa 1 Tango Alpha 2 Romeo Romeo Tango 2 Tango Tango 1. Contact tower on 119.6 tree when ready.
Taxi 2 and hold short runway 08 left via taxiway Papa 1 Tango Alpha 2 Romeo Romeo Tango 2 Tango Tango 1 Jake 1234.
Alright, let's go ahead and draw that out on our chart here. Another great feature of Navigraph charts. We can mark up so we look here. It's asking us to taxi. It's asking us to taxi via P1, P right behind us, to PA2, take a left, take another right, R, down to R2, R, oh probably, oh RT2, down to T, seems like all the way down to the beginning of runway left. Go ahead.
All ground Air France 7312 Heavy requesting pushback. Air France
We're gonna request pushback here too in a second.
Accepted.
Make sure we set up our performance takeoff. It does most of this automatically. You can see our transition altitude is already set. I'm going to set flaps to 2. I'm also going to set my flaps. Turn auto brake on. Get on. Back.
De Gaulle ground Jake 12 tree 4 requesting pushback.
Jake 12 tree 4 pushback request accepted.
Turn my parking brake off. And so as you can see here in my charts,
heavy requesting the end of pushback. Air France 7312 heavy request.
As you can see in the charts, I want my nose to turn to the left, which means I'm going to ask for pushback to steer me to the right.
De Gaulle ground Jake 12 tree 4 requesting pushback tug to steer the aircraft to the right.
Jake 12 tree 4 your request has been transmitted to the operator.
Has a little bit of a delay, so you kind of have to know when you're getting close to the pushback to request and
with Quebec ready to taxi IFR. Air France 7312 heavy taxi to and hold short of runway 08 left using taxiway Tango Bravo 2 Echo Foxtrot
so long,
November 2 Foxtrot Foxtrot November for November Uniform Tango for Charlie Uniform Tango 2 Tango 1. Contact tower on 119.6
press
when ready.
Parking brake up.
De Gaulle ground Jake
Yeah.
12 tree 4 requesting the end of pushback.
Jake 12 tree 4 request to end pushback received.
Alright. We have our parking brakes off. I'm gonna hold
Taxi
dead.
hold short runway 08 left by
Turn up the
taxiway
throttle just a
Tango Bravo
touch.
2 Echo Foxtrot
I don't have
November
rudder
2
pedals, so
Foxtrot
I have
November for
the
November
rudder
Uniform
connected to my
Uniform
yoke.
Tango for
I
Charlie
might make a
Uniform
short
Tango
video on how to
2
do
Tango
that.
1 Air France
There's a lot of people.
7312 heavy.
Keeps it so that I don't have to have any extra peripherals. Use just have here at the desk. Already forgot. Leave.
Air France 7312 heavy hold position caution other traffic. Air France 7312
So I'm on
heavy,
taxiway A2 currently. I need to take a right onto RT2. See, this says RT3 up ahead, so RT2
heavy.
should be down my right. Taxiway T, right. Here. And I take it left on RT2. See, the black square means that's the taxiway you're on currently. So RT2 is to the left here. Also, if you don't know on the chart how to find your little airplane right here, should have prefaced that. It's this button, moving maps. Make sure that you click on for moving maps, otherwise you won't see yourself. I'm going to take right here on E. my way down to 1. Take a left and runway. Taxiing is still something I have yet to master, because it's fine when you can prep for it, but when you land and you just really don't know. So if anybody has any tips, best way to do that, I'd love to know. Planes coming.
Air France 7 tree, 1-2 heavy, hold position, caution, other traffic. Air France 7 tree, 1-2 heavy, continue taxi.
To my left is 2, which means E1 should be my left.
Roger, Air France 7 tree, 1-2 heavy.
I'm gonna take the next one. Like I said, I'm not a master at taxiing. I think I made the right call. Looks like end of the line for. So lining up here with runway 8 left. I want to get clearance again where we take off. Taxi lights are already on. And put our landing. Parking brake. Try to use
De Gaulle Tower, Jake 1234 at runway 08 left, ready for departure IFR to Malpensa.
Jake 1-2 tree, for altimeter tree, 0.00 wind tree, 59er at 8. Cleared for takeoff runway 08 left.
Alright, sounds like we're cleared.
Cleared for takeoff runway 08 left, Jake 1234.
Got to turn my parking brake. Right as soon as we're about to take off, my dog goes nuts. Half throttle, full throttle. Now the only thing is using the yoke. I have a tough time steering and taking off. Now as we hit 140, that's our V1. 160 is our V2, which means rotate. Whoops, rotate slowly. Gear up. And we're gonna lift about 20 degrees. Put our flaps all the way up. And lower our throttle to climb.
Good day.
And autopilot.
Air hop 10. 08 left. Air hop 1006 heavy, line up and wait. Line up and wait, air hop 1006 heavy.
As we see, we're in nav mode, which is very important. All of these are in managed mode.
Jake 123,
11,000
please
feet.
acknowledge.
125.7 Jake 1234. Goodbye.
I didn't even set my altimeter. Right now it's at 3000. I only know that because I saw that on the latest.
Heavy altimeter 30.00, wind speed 59er at 8.
But when we go to 5,000 feet, which is our transition altitude, that's when you middle click your barometer and put it into standard. So that's their transition altitude. Go ahead and tune Paris Center.
Paris Center Jake 1234 is passing 9,200 feet, climbing 11,000 feet.
Jake 123,
I'm gonna set my
Paris Center
altimeter to
30.01
18,000.
radar contact. Continue to LAULY. Jake 1234 traffic is 10 o'clock, 4 miles at 8,300 feet Airbus A320neo. Report them in sight. Jake 1234 climb and maintain flight level 200.
Alright, let's raise our
Climb
altitude
and
to
maintain flight level
200.
200 Jake 1234.
Here. If it's not in managed mode, middle click it with your mouse. That puts it where the auto throttle. Everything will work in unison. A little turbulence.
Air France 7471 heavy contact Paris Center on 125.7. Good day. .7 Air France 7471 heavy. Goodbye.
Oh, passed 10,000 feet a while ago. Got to turn off.
Easy 8433 heavy traffic is 10 o'clock, 4 miles at flight level 3860 Airbus A320neo. Report them in sight. Jake 1234 climb and maintain flight level 270.
Climb and maintain flight level 270 Jake 1234.
Turning our altitude up. 70.
Easy 8433 heavy, have the traffic. Center, Easy 4864 Heavy, 9,900 feet. Easy 4864 Heavy, Paris, center altimeter tree 0.00, radar contact. Continue to Malba. Easy 4864 Heavy, contact de Gaulle approach on 126.575. Good day. Going to 126.575, Easy 4864 Heavy. Jake 1234 climb and maintain flight level 390.
Climb and maintain flight level 390, Jake 1234.
Lufthansa 2236 Heavy, you are 46 miles southeast. Descend and maintain 15,000 feet. Keep speed not above 300 knots. Expect ILS runway 08 right approach via Okipa transition. Cleared to Okipa. Royal Air Maroc 765 Heavy, contact Paris Center on 125.7. Good day. Easy 1340 Heavy, contact Orly departure on 128.38. Good day. Air France 47 Heavy, contact Paris Center on 125.7. Good day. Going to 128.38, Easy 1340 Heavy. Paris Center, Easy 4864 Heavy, 10,000 feet. Easy 4864 Heavy, Paris, center altimeter tree 0.01, radar contact. Continue to Malba. Easy 4864 Heavy, contact de Gaulle approach on 126.575. Good day. 125.7 Iberia 590 Heavy. Goodbye.
39,000 feet seems awfully high. I'm gonna ask for a decrease. Say by 4,000 feet.
Paris Center, Jake 1234. Request flight level 350.
Jake 1234 climb and maintain flight level 350. Airhop 1289er, heavy UR5, 6 miles southeast. Climb and maintain 17,000 feet. Keep speed not above 300 knots. Expect ILS runway 08 right approach via Okipa transition. Cleared to Okipa.
Climb and maintain flight level 350, Jake 1234.
Alright, I think we're cruising pretty good. I'm gonna turn off the seatbelt signs. And we're gonna let this go. We have 315 nautical miles. And we're going a little under 300 miles per hour here, so it should take us about 45 minutes, and I'll be back with you before we get across the Alps. Alright, so one of the things I'm gonna do starting off is calculate our top of descent. We're decently close. So we gotta calculate how long it's gonna take to descend. If we look here, we look at our chart, we'll see that SRN here on our navigational chart, it's telling us that we need to be about 4,000 feet by the time we hit this spot right there. And currently we're at 3,500 feet or 35,000 feet. So we take 35,000. This is how I usually calculate it. 35,000 minus 4,000, where we need to be. That's 31,000 foot difference. So I take 31, I times that by 3, because it takes usually about 3 minutes for every 1,000 feet to descend. That means we need 93 miles to descend. Here you can see we're approaching the mountain. So we're a little low as far as if we started descending right before the mountain. I don't know if we'd actually clear the mountains. But we need to figure out what 93 miles away from SRN, where that would be. So if we take a look at our FMC, SRN is here, and I believe you'd have 219 miles from this waypoint to SRN, and by the time it tells us that we have about 93 miles left, that's when I'll activate our descent down 4,000 feet. That's where we're at now. We're at DJL. We still need to make it to the waypoint here. Zoom in here briefly. Right now we're 48 nautical miles. Zeroid. Can't tell exactly how far we are from SRN. Anybody knows a better way with this model airplane? In the V2 it usually counts you down. So I think I'm gonna start activating our descent, and for that, because I'm not exactly sure if we'll clear these mountains, I'm gonna just set our descent to 30,000. At least get a little bit closer. Well, see how long that takes. We should also contact the center and see if they tell us to raise our altitude.
Jake 123, 4 Reams Center, radar contact, continue.
Reams Center, Jake 1234. Request flight level 300.
Jake 123, for descend and maintain flight level 300.
Descend and maintain flight level 300, Jake
They say it's okay.
1234.
Take a look at our ILS, our chart here. If we take a look at the chart, we go to our performance. We're going to start filling out our approach phase. From the chart, the ILS straight in landing.
Please expedite your descent flight level 300.
We see here we have ILS DAH 891 is the number. I'm not exactly sure what that means either, but we have DAH and DA. I usually just fill these out with those numbers, and all goes correctly with my ILS landing.
Jake 1234 traffic is 10 o'clock, 2 miles at flight level 320 Cessna Skyhawk. Report them in sight.
Report no.
Jake 1234 don't have the traffic.
Descend and maintain 7,000 feet. Keep speed not above
Anyways, back to the chart.
Expect ILS runway 22 approach via Sapper transition.
Go ahead and type in 891.
Too heavy.
The DAH, the MDA 1140.
France 104. Air France 104, 2 heavy contact, Geneva approach on 130.555. Good day.
Go ahead and check the chart for the whole airport.
Going to 130.555.
Check the ATIS so I can fill out some of these weather.
Jake 123, please expedite your descent flight level 300.
Don't let me.
Reams Center Jake 1234 would like to change destination to Malpensa.
Jake 1234 is cleared to Malpensa Airport as filed. Squawk 2654.
Anyways, we're looking at ATIS. We have for runway in use 35 right. Have wind at 230. 12 knots. So wind.
Jake
Wind
1234
230.
cleared to Malpensa Airport is filed. Squawk 2654.
Third.
Jake 1234, read
Well-
that correct. Radar contact, flight level 320. Turn right heading 310 descend and maintain flight level 260.
Alright, we just hit our zeroid waypoint.
Turn
So we
right
are
heading
139
310
miles
descend and
away
maintain flight level
from
260
SRN, where we
Jake
need to be
1234.
7,000 feet, or 4,000 feet. We'll wait a little longer. Let's calculate that again. 30,000 minus 4,000. 26. 6. 3. We need to be 78 nautical miles away from SRN. Activate our 4,000 foot.
125.55 Jake 1234. Goodbye.
Anyways, so our magnetic heading wind 230 at 12 knots. Put that in. Let's see if we can find our temperature. Thousand feet for the position altitude. Our QNH is 1013. So, yay. Oh, which is yay, and then 1013 when we reach 6,000 feet. We see here on the chart, here at Hadku, we need to be 3,000 feet in order to align with the ILS localizer. When we reach D7.2, we'll hit our approach mode, and that's where all of the stuff that we just typed in will come in handy. It'll help to keep our altitude and our speed correct. Approach. Oh.
Geneva Center Jake 1234 is passing flight level 300, descending flight level 260.
Jake 1234, Geneva Center radar contact. Continue to Sierra Romeo November. Geneva Lima Center, Air France 1605, heavy flight level 340. Air France 16.
Got some beautiful here. Gonna get quite a bit of turbulence. See, it's quite wobbly. I bet you back it is even worse. Not a fan of turbulence. I can only imagine.
Jake 12 tree 4, please expedite your descent flight level 260.
I'm not going to expedite the descent yet, but I want to activate the descent. According to our calculation, about 80 miles away.
Jake 12 tree for contact Switzerland Center on 126.35. Good day.
126.35 Jake 1234. Goodbye.
Our overswing. Crazy. We were in France 45 minutes ago. Coming from the States, this is barely a flight to New York, and we're already flying over Switzerland and then to Italy. Alright, I was came back a little late. I missed the descent by just about, I don't know, 5 miles or so. Hopefully that doesn't mess us up too bad. You can see we have some serious turbulence up here. Got some beautiful mountains, but yeah, the turbulence is wild flying over these mountains. As we begin approaching, I'd like to check our charts here. As you can see, actually I'm gonna go ahead and raise us up to 4,000 feet because we don't even reach 3,000 feet until we get very close to approach. As we pass 10,000 feet, I'm gonna turn our landing lights on. And the rest of the video is probably going to be silent because we have a dog that continues to bark like crazy, especially next minutes here. So unfortunately I'm gonna have to go on silent mode and continue to just watch what I do. We've done most of the planning already, so that will help our descent. If anything gonna happen is I'm gonna turn on the ILS button. Once we capture the ILS both horizontally and vertically, I will choose the approach mode and I'll let basically the plane do the rest. At about 100 feet I usually turn autopilot off and do a manual landing. That's just preference. And the video so far, continue to watch as I land this. Hopefully we have a smooth landing, and hopefully we all learned something from the video today. So stay tuned for some more videos and hope to see you soon.
Niner Heavy is at flight level 330 climbing flight level 3.
Milan Center Jake 1234 is at 6,200 feet climbing flight level 260.
Jake 1234 Milan Center altimeter 29.93 radar contact. Continue to Sierra Romeo November.
Milan Center Jake 1234 requesting vector to next waypoint.
Jake 1234 continue to Sierra Romeo November turning and following heading 115 for zoom on navigation.
Continue to Sierra Romeo November turning and following heading 115 for zoom on navigation Jake 1234. Milan Center Jake 1234. Cancel IFR at this time.
Jake 1234 IFR flight plan is canceled. Radar service terminated. Squawk 7000. Maintain VFR. Frequency change approved. Good day.
Malpensa Airport information Alpha 1500 Zulu. Wind 217 at 12. Visibility 6. Sky condition clear. Temperature 22. Dew point 10. Altimeter 29.91. Visual runway 17 right and ILS Yankee runway 17 left in use. Landing and departing runway tree 5 left and runway tree 5 right. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have Alpha. Malpensa Airport information Alpha 1500 Zulu. Wind 217 at 12. Visibility 6. Sky condition clear. Temperature 22. Dew point 10. Altimeter 29.91. Visual runway 17 right and ILS Yankee runway 17 left in use. Landing and departing runway tree 5 left and runway tree.
Malpensa Tower Jake 1234 is 7 miles north 4,100 feet with Alpha to land.
Jake 1234 Malpensa Tower. Altimeter 29.91 wind 207 at 10. Fly straight and runway 17 left.
Fly straight and runway 17 left Jake 1234. Malpensa Tower, can Jake 1234 get runway tree 5 right?
Jake 1234 Malpensa Tower. Altimeter 29.91 wind 207 at 10. Enter left downwind runway tree 5 right.
Fly left traffic runway tree 5 right Jake 1234.
1234, wind 198 at 8. Caution the Airbus A320neo landing runway 35 left. Cleared to land runway 35 right. Malpensa Tower, Cessna Sierra Zulu Sierra 688 ready for departure runway 17 right IFR to Castrop. Cessna Sierra Zulu Sierra 688 altimeter 29.9 wind 198 at 8. Cleared for takeoff runway 17 right.
Cleared to land runway 35 right Jake 1234.
Cleared for takeoff runway 17 right Cessna Sierra Zulu Sierra 688.
Retard. 5.
Jake 1234, turn next taxiway. Jake 1234, contact ground on 121.9er.
121.9er Jake 1234. Goodbye. Ground Jake 1234, request taxi to the gate.
Jake 1234 taxi to gate 40 using taxiway Alpha Bravo Alpha Echo Charlie Delta Mike cross runway 17 right Delta Bravo Whiskey Yankee.
Taxiing to gate 40 via taxiway Alpha Bravo Alpha Echo Charlie Delta Mike cross runway 17 right Delta Bravo Whiskey Yankee Jake 1234. ground Jake 1234. Could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft?
Jake 123 for the jetway is going to be connected.